Okay, well, I better start. We got a big group here. You guys have all seen the news and seen it on TV, the tragedy going on in LA. We feel so bad for all the people who have lost homes, had to be evacuated. It's truly, like nothing we've seen before, certainly me, part of that. And the men and women on the front lines who are courageous. We've watched it on TV. It's the best we've got to do is get as close as that. Fighting, saving lives, saving homes. We just want to make sure that, even though we're not back in town, that we're still thinking about what's going on there, and we really want to acknowledge all the tragedy that's going on. It's been hard for everybody.
You notice the stickers on the helmets, not just for you guys, but for Winnipeg as well. How important is it to kind of show that even though you're not in LA, you're kind of still thinking about everyone who is there?
Yeah, well, it's not far from anybody's minds. We've heard from people all over the world, basically. We've got people in Europe who have been texting, so everybody wants to show as much support as we can. We're not there. We have a job to do. We have to get out on the road, but there's people in our organization that have been impacted personally. So I think not only us as a team, but you see the Jets and I'm sure the league, everybody stands together. And that's what the people in LA are doing right now through this, and we just like to give our support where we can.
You've got some staff people affected, I understand?
Yeah, in different ways. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that hasn't had somebody in some way been affected, whether it's evacuees or friends or whatever it might be. It's tragic. There's nothing else to say on that.
Puts things in perspective in some way.
It sure does. It sure does. Yeah. And like I said, we have to get out of town and we have to do our jobs, but it doesn't mean that we're not following the news like everybody else is, and certainly aware. But really grateful for the job that the people are doing to try and get this under control.
Can it be tough to get your team to focus in on doing its job when that's happening back at home?
Yeah, it has an effect. There's no question. Like you said, you've left loved ones at home, and nobody knows exactly how this thing's going to go and where it's going to end up. So there'll be a distraction there for sure. But when the game comes around, you have to do your job as a professional. But yeah, you can't put it out of your mind completely.
Jim, it almost feels wrong to ask a hockey question, but maybe this is a good time to segue. Is that okay to ask a hockey question?
Yeah, of course. That's part of what we have to do. But certainly knowing that it's not far from the back of the mind. Yeah.
All due respect. Asking the Winnipeg Jets players over the last couple of years about them being one of the best defensive teams and the buy-in, and a lot of the things that come back is that the trade-off is it leads to offense. Would that be true for your group, and would that be one of the biggest changes? You're the best defensive team, but also numbers offensively are more than reasonable as well.
Yeah, so there's two things. We wanted to, we changed our system a little bit. We wanted to maintain a strong defensive game. That was the foundation of the team. But through that, we wanted to try to add some offense. Because if you looked at our offense, it hadn't been middle of the pack, a little bit below. So we've tried to not give up the defense, and through that, add more offense. And I think that's something we've been able to do this year, with the change of the system. That's helped, but the mentality of the players to check and play defense first, has remained. And, they've had a chance to create a little more offense probably because of it.
I want to ask about Gabriel Landeskog. I know you coached him for 1 year in Los Angeles, and a lot of people here talk about his ability to protect the puck. Obviously, people can shoot it, some can pass, but just that ability, how elite do you think that is in terms of extending plays and creating offensive pressure from what you saw from him? Yeah,
well, it's an important part of every player's game. Rush offense is one thing. It's really difficult to create in the O zone, and Gabe does that really well. When you got a big body like he does, that helps. You can protect it and keep it away from you a little bit further against the defenders. But yeah, definitely a strong point of his game, and any player who wants to create in the O zone has to have some element of that in their game. Gabe does it very well, and you guys are seeing it here. He's off to a good start.
It's always interesting to get outsiders' perspectives on the Jets. What stands out about them to you?
I think they're cast into their roles pretty well. You see that they have a clear, top line who produces most nights. Power play is very, very difficult to stop. And then they have, I think the Nemesnikov line is undercover a little bit. I think they're an extremely dangerous line. You've got Lowry's line, who for years has played against the other team's best, checked, hard, physical. And then Gustafsson, Kapari, and Iafallo when he's there. I know he's not there. That's another line that's hard to play against. So, everybody seems to be cast in the right spots. The back end, you jump out as Pionk and Morrissey providing a lot of offense too. So, just a well-balanced team with, with high-end players in the right spots.
Jim, I wanted to ask you about Warren Fogle and the impact he's had this season.
He's played very well. I thought he played really well for Edmonton last year. Probably had his best season of his career last year, and I think he's a player who's been cast as a forechecker, a worker. He does all those things really well. Plays with a lot of energy, and I thought you saw maybe last year him break out just a little bit offensively. He's not really had that role, I guess, in the league, and playing with Byfield, I think they've created some chemistry here, and you're just starting to see him, I think, continue. Breaking out offensively a little bit. He'll always give you the energy, the forecheck, the penalty kill, but I like the fact that I think he's got more there offensively, and I think he's just really starting to bloom in that area of the game, and we hope that he continues that over the rest of his career.
Best team in the league on home ice this year, but not many home games this month. How would you like to take that home form on the road with you?
Yeah, it's seemingly spent the first, or prior to Christmas, majority of the year on the road. And we developed a good road game and had a rhythm, and now we've been at home for so long that, our concern is to get back to the road mentality and reestablish our road game. So hopefully we can do that in the first period here tonight. But there is a change when you have a block of 20 days on the road and then you have a block of 20 days at home. It'll take a little time, and hopefully we get that going right away against a team that will be pushing us.